How in the world are you doing? I'm gonna chew a piece of gum, probably for like 2 minutes. How you doing? I see that my buddy Frank Lopes just went live too. What's that all about, Lopes? Going live when I'm live, man. Anyway, so I want to do a little bit of Photoshop stuff. Show you guys anything you would like to see with Photoshop. Is this thing live? Is it just a bad time of night? Let me see if this is working. Yep, it's working. Just 0 people out of 35,000. Is that right? Come on. Nope, it's public. All right, so I'll wait for a couple of people to hop on here, and we'll get started. Want to get some ideas from you guys. Can't do the gum. Ugh. Can't do it. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man? So I wanted to show some Photoshop stuff. Let you guys, anybody that has anything they would like done on a photo. My buddy Bill you didn't say what you wanted done. Looks like you already Photoshopped that. So we'll play around with that photo until we get some people in here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You guys are looking at my Photoshop now. Move this over, and let me just drag this onto the canvas here. Ryan, I'm the CEO of Client Solution Innovations. We're a web development marketing firm. We do a lot of stuff, man. Nah, it's all good, dude. It's not off topic. You can ask anything, bro. Anything you want to ask. Hold on, let my computer catch up. Jeez, what is up with my computer here lately? So, I'm just like, this is, hey, Megan Wright, how in the world are you? Fidel, how you doing? So I just, you know what, I have people ask me all the time if I can do certain things to help them with photos and what have you, what not. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So I thought I would just jump on here and play around on Photoshop a little bit. See if there's any special requests anybody has, as long as you keep it clean. You know, any special requests that you would have as far as what you would like to see, any photos you would like to have touched up. I can remove scratches, all kinds of stuff. So I'll show you, for example, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do things in Photoshop. So if I let me move that over there. I got too many overlays like blocking my screen here. So I'm going to go to Google and I want to look something up real fast. Let me do that. Let me pull this up here. And yeah, I like this one here. Giselle, how in the world are you? Giselle LaRose is on. Good to see you, Giselle. So I'm just wanting to mess around in Photoshop here a little bit. So let me find one thing that I'm looking for here real real quick. I'm in Google Images. I'm just doing a quick image search, and I just want to grab a little bit of one thing here. Hold on real fast. Let me just snag a little section of something here. Now, I am using every last bit of my computer's resources at the moment. So there we go. Now let's go over to Photoshop and paste that puppy in and hide that layer for a minute. So what I want to do is, since Bill is, he posted this photo. I know they they photoshopped that. I don't think they really had a camel there, but hey, maybe they actually had a camel there. I don't think so, because if you look at the reflection in the glass, you don't see the camel's reflection back there. So I would have probably, you didn't get a notification? I'm sorry. See, now my computer's acting up here a little bit. I need to upgrade my RAM in this a little bit. So Bill had, I mean, come on, like there's no reflection of the camel in the glass. So I would have probably, if I were going to make this look more realistic, I would have probably taken the camel and I would have made some sort of reflection. So one way that you can do that, let me just rasterize this layer, which is going to flatten it out a little bit. So one way you can go in and select this camel using let's use the quick selection tool. Let's make our brush a little bit bigger and go in here and start selecting this camel. Oh, we grabbed too much of it there. Let's hold the Alt key down and get rid of that part of it. Let's hold the Alt key down here and get rid of that. We just want the camel in here. So let's go through. It's going to select some parts. I'll show you a way to get rid of those here in a second. Right now I'm just using, I mean, Photoshop is really, really a magical, it's amazing. Once you learn everything that it can do, it's absolutely amazing. Frank Crenity is on. How you doing? Joanne, how are you? Good to see you guys. So now see, it went ahead and grabbed all that. Let's deselect some of that. There we go. Deselect that window. Let's deselect that. And of course, it's going to be a pain. Let me make the brush a little smaller. Zoom in on it. Let's get that part of the camel there. So, let's see here. Now I want to... we need to get the camel's tail and butt in there. So let's do that. Alright, so I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Let me zoom back in here. Let's hold the Alt key down and get rid of that part of the selection. Now, one thing about working in Photoshop is it can be very, very tedious. You have to be patient because working in Photoshop, number one, there's nothing that's absolutely perfect. There we go. Got a little bit more of that. Nothing that's absolutely perfect. I'm gonna switch over to the lasso tool, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down, and I just want to get rid of this little bit right here. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down and circle that, and boom, it gets rid of it. Now, if I wanted to get this guy's bottom lip here, all I'm going to do is hold the Shift key down, so I get the plus symbol, if you see that with the lasso tool, and I'm going to circle what I want to include in the selection. See how it did that? Maybe I want to round it out a little bit more. So there we go, and maybe get the rest of his upper lip so we don't have a part-lipped camel. So that is, I think, going to be pretty darn close. Bill, if you photoshopped this, dude, I see you. I see you on here. Oh, we forgot this part. So let's get this part of the camel's leg. I'm just using the lasso tool. I could use the quick selection tool, but I'm just going to use this for now. And then let's see, let me get the rest of his foot in here. So what I probably would have done is what I'm getting ready to do right now. So let me do this and do this and deselect that. Daggone it, come on, my hand slipped there. Oh, I want to get the rest of his back leg. And I also want to get rid of this part here, because that is not part of the deal, right? And we are pretty good there, pretty good. So now I have just the camel selected. Now let's say that Bill said, dude, I'd rather we were sitting on a donkey. Bill, I'm just kidding, dude. I had to say that. Oh, that was my first thought when you posted this picture. So now I can take this and I can say, okay, I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say, make a layer via cut or make a layer via copy. So I'm just going to make a layer via copy. And now I have just the camel selected, so I can reselect that so I get the marching ants, right? And sorry, Bill. I hope Bill's laughing at that comment. So I have just the camel selected. So if I turn off the main layer, the main picture, all I have is that right there. And then I can go around on that layer and I see there's some outlines showing. So I could go with my eraser tool, I could go in here and I could go, let me make this a little bit bigger. Let me right click, bring the hardness up to about there, and whoops, why is that not erasing? What am I doing wrong here? I don't know what I just did. Don't know why that's not, why is that not erasing, I wonder? Huh. Oh, it's because it's in the selection. If I deselect it and then go there, I had it selected. Sorry, once you have something selected, it'll only erase what's within that selection. So now there's tiny little lines there. I'm erasing those tiny little lines around. So now I just have the camel and the outline of their legs. So if I said, well, I want just the camel, I don't want the outline of their legs in there, well, that would be somewhat difficult for the average person. I'm kidding. So now all I can use, I can like go in here and I can erase that, and I could say, let me erase some of this other stuff in the photo itself. And by the way, if you have any questions, shoot them at me. Just put them up here. Let me see if I can do this and answer any questions. So what I could do now is say, okay, I obviously can't have, these things appearing here. So I can grab the clone stamp, which is such an amazing tool. Love the clone stamp. And now I can just go like this. I can select an area that I want to clone and just start painting. And I can do a much bigger brush if I want. Maybe not quite that big, and then select that area and just, whoops. And now I'm painting over. And again, I'm doing this kind of fast. Normally I would add another layer and I would do it on a separate layer. And up here, I want to select current layer and below. So it's going to be this layer and on down, anything below. And then I'm just going to go in and start painting. Let me undo all that because I didn't do it on its own layer, and I want to do it on its own layer. So I can now create another layer, and now I can go in here, select this right here, and just start painting. Maybe go over here, select this, kind of blend them together, and I'll show you how we can do some blending stuff too. Again, this was just an idea I literally just had on the fly to create take the camel. Remember, we started with this, right? I cropped out the camel, so we're just going to try to. I'm doing this way faster than I normally would. Normally, I would be zoomed way in here. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, and I'm going to show you some of that stuff, but. So maybe, again, it's not going to look perfect because there's so many different, see, that looks horrible. That looks terrible. So what can I do with that? Let's see. Let me see if I can use the, Alexa, stop. Let me see if I can use the blur tool and make that look any more. No. I don't know if that's going to work because that is such a, let me see. Oh my God, it is so much work. Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It really is. Like I did one for some friends last night that had a family photo that they wanted. There's Bill's shoe. We can remove Bill's shoe too. So I would just go in here and I would go maybe a little bit bigger than that, and I just, whoops. No. Oh, jeez, got the wrong dang. See, now I'm trying to do too much at once. So I would say right in here, and then I'm just going to do that. Nice socks, right? So maybe I want this to be a little bigger here, go like that. And all I'm doing is I'm using the clone tool, and I'm getting rid of his shoe. Again, there's a lot of, like, you know, I'm doing it honestly. I'm kind of doing it in a different way than I normally would, because I'm doing it so fast. So let's see if I can do it this way. Here, I'm going to grab. So what I'm trying to do is grab a lighter area and a dark area at the same time. And I'm going to hit the Alt key to select that area, and then I'm just going to start dragging it. So now it's not these circles, because when I do it one click at a time, it's literally creating circles. And I'm putting this on another layer, right? So I'm going to try to blend these as best as I can. So now maybe I want to grab, maybe I don't want it that big of a brush. I want to just kind of, and then a lot of times I'll reduce the flow of the brush way down, the opacity way down. This isn't even what I was planning on doing, quite frankly. So if I zoom out, you can see it's starting to kind of come together. It's a sickly looking camel at this moment, but that's all right. We'll be able to do some stuff, hopefully, to make it all come together. Not that camels look that cool anyway. So now, like, okay, I don't know if there was a hump, because if we go back to the original photo, I don't know. It's hard to tell. So I'm just going to keep going here. So if I go like this, let's grab this section over here, and let's just start. Yeah, I turned the flow way down too far. Let's just leave it at 100%. So let's grab this and let's just start. And what it's doing is it's grabbing, whoops, it's grabbing parts of, so it's grabbing this area right here, and I'm just painting it over. It's called the clone stamp, so it's literally just cloning what it sees over here. So I hit the Alt key and I say, hey, grab this part here, and then I can clone it over here. Another thing that you can do, I'll grab this is called the lasso tool. So another thing I could do is this right here. I could take the lasso tool. I want to be on the layer that I'm selecting, which is layer 2. And I can grab just an area like this. Maybe grab that right there. And then I can hit Control or Command C and create, and I'm copying that. And then Command V, and I just created another layer. So I grab that layer. Whoa, wrong layer. Where is it? There it is. And I can pull that away just like that. And then you can mess around with it. You can do all kinds of stuff to make it, you know, kind of blend in or fit or whatever. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. For now, I'm just going to delete that layer. Man, I picked the wrong dang thing to play with, because this honestly should take hours to do what I'm doing right now. This is a lot to try to crop out. Because see how it's all messed up now? Now I can play with, I can reduce opacity. I can, let's see. How would that go in? Screen? No. Definitely not screen. Let's go back to normal. Let's go to blending options. Let's go, that's not going to work. Nope. I don't know that there's anything I can do with the blending options. Yeah, I've kind of got that screwed up. I screwed it up with the blur tool, you can see. So I'm going to start over on that. Let me try it a different way. Add that layer again. And then, let's see here. Let me try the clone stamp again. What I wanted to do originally was, you know what, I'm going to go back to my original plan. Let me see this. Let me just try something real fast. So I was going to take the quick selection tool and start selecting this, the parking lot. See how I'm selecting this pavement? And the quick selection tool is going to select primarily just the pavement. Now, as you can see, it didn't get all of the pavement, and it got part of the sidewalk. So I'm going to zoom into the sidewalk, and I'm going to make this brush smaller, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down to subtract from that. And that's pretty close. We don't want that. Let me think here for a second. We don't want this. We do want that. Nope. Command Z. Daggone, it's going to keep doing that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to grab the lasso tool because it's being a pain in the rear end, and I'm just going to circle this and say I want this included in the selection, exactly like that. And then I'm going to select this exactly like that. And then I'm going to select this. Whoa. And I'm going to select this. So what I'm doing now is I'm selecting all of the pavement. It looks like we have these legs selected as well. So let me grab this and click the Alt key to get rid of the selection of the legs. It should do a pretty good job, and it did. So now let me back out of this a little bit. First let me add, I want to get all of the pavement. Okay, so now, there. Now I have all of the pavement, right? I want to make that pavement its own layer, so I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say make a layer via copy. So it just made a layer. All right, now I'm going to turn the camel thing off for a second, and that off. And let's see. So I have just the pavement. Now, that pavement, I mean, it's kind of cruel to have a camel standing on pavement, if you ask me. So I went and found a little bit of sand, because that's what camels like, is sand, right? So we want to, let's see, let me grab, hang on just a second. Let me grab this. I'm going to do this. Whoops, wrong one. Jeez. Okay, so now whoops. I want it. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so I want to select this, and then on that layer there, I'm gonna, whoops. I'm going to grab the selection tool. I'm going to select inverse and hit delete. And now, if I turn this off, uh-oh, it's freezing up on me. Hold on. Now I have a sand parking lot, and the camel is standing on sand instead of pavement. Did you guys see how I did that? So now, see what I did is I cut out the parking lot and made it its own layer. And then I took just a piece of sand that I found in Google Images, and I dropped it into the selection area. and then I just selected the reverse of that and deleted it so it would fit right perfectly within the selection that I had just made. And now you can, you know, go in and do all kinds of different things with it at this point. You can go into the blending options, and if you wanted, you could do a dark, maybe a dark color overlay and make it a darker sand, right? So I can darken the sand. I can like do whatever I want. Like really, you can do anything with. There's really nothing in Photoshop that is impossible, except for I literally was trying to get into cutting this camel out, as you guys, most of you that were on here saw. But man, when you start, you've got to do some really, really, really super fine tuning when you're doing something like that. I could show you a family photo I did last night. I don't want to show it because I don't have their permission to show it. But I did a family photo last night where in the background of the photo, there were other people, and they were, it was a nice, beautiful family photo of the mom and dad and the four kids, and when somebody took, and they were sitting on these bales of hay or straw, and it was like this nice fall picture, but there were other people in the background and a car or something in the driveway. And so I had to blend out each and every one of those people. I had to do, and I did. It took hours and hours to do, because it's when you get into like this camel, like I picked the wrong thing to try at first, but I was able to do it, and I added a pine tree behind them to get rid of the garage door in the background and a car, and it was exactly what she wanted. So like, Photoshop is incredible. Are there any requests? Does anyone have a request? Because you could literally send me a photo right now. Maybe you need some scratches removed, or maybe you need a person removed. But you know, there's literally in Photoshop, there's nothing that's impossible almost. I mean, there are people way, way, way better at Photoshop than I am. But you know, I love it. I've used Photoshop for many, many, many years. So Bill, there's a picture of there is a picture of you guys on your camel, in right there. And what in the world was I just doing? Jeez. Right there is you guys on the camel, and the camel's on sand instead of dark pavement, which is much better. You know, you could do things like going in here with the magic wand tool and selecting. Whoa, I selected the wrong thing. Command D is the deselect tool. I can add another layer, select the main layer here, and I could say, okay, I'm gonna select, whoops, need to hit the shift key. Whoa, wrong. Command Z. Daggone it, what's it doing here? Command Z. Let me do the quick select. There we go. So now I have, no I don't. What did that do? What is it doing here? Let me go back to the magic wand, lower the tolerance down, and then hit the plus. There we go. I had the tolerance set too high, so it literally is selecting every color in the picture close to what I was clicking on. So now I could create a new layer out of that. I could go here, create a new layer, so I'll say new layer via copy. And now if I turn that off, I have that up there. And now I could select that if I want and change the color to whatever color I want. Maybe maybe I want this color off the camel. So I just use the eyedropper tool. I select that color and I hit Alt Delete. And now I hit Command D to deselect. And it didn't, so you see it didn't get everything. Do you see that around the edges? So like there's a lot of different things that you could do to fix that, right? One thing I'll do right now is I'll take the smudge tool and go in here and I'll just smudge it. Hang on, let me get this a little bit smaller here. Oh, I have the strength way down. So now you can just kind of go in and fine tune the edge by, all I'm doing is pushing the colors out a little further. As you can see. So I'm just fine tuning the edge now, that's all. Just kind of making it smoothed out. It was a little jagged there from where it didn't select it perfectly, because there were so many colors in it. So now I am, let me pull this in just a little. Let me see if that'll work. Yeah, just a little bit there. Again, I can make the brush a lot smaller and it's going to be more detailed, right? Smaller the brush, the more detail. Right, so I mean that gives you a pretty good example of you know what's interesting is I didn't get any, like I said in my post, like send me a photo, I'll work on a photo for you, and Bill's the only one besides my mom, a picture of her and my dad in a field or something. I'm not sure what she wanted me to do with that, but so if anybody has a photo you would like somebody cut out of it, you would like it, I mean, I can do a lot of different things, and I'm not, this isn't for money, I'm just doing this for fun to teach people, because Photoshop is something that I have been in Photoshop for many, many, many years. And I'll tell you something, there are times when I go, man, how do I do that again? Or I forget how to do something. And YouTube has literally thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of videos. See, I just changed that. So now if I wanted, instead of it being blue, I wanted it to match the camel. That is the exact color of the camel at this point right here. Right in here somewhere is where I use the eyedrop selector. So YouTube has tons and tons and tons, tens of thousands of videos that like, if you have Photoshop, there's really nothing that you can't learn in Photoshop just by watching YouTube videos. I mean, it's crazy. And you can do all kinds of stuff. Like I can go in and I could select the, let's see, yeah, there's the sand layer. See that? So I could go in here and select this layer. And then what are some things I could do? I could go in and go to filters. I could do, oh, I don't know, I can go to blur, do a, let's see, blur, do a Gaussian blur. See how I can make that real blurry, or I can bring it way down, the radius way down, just make it a little bit blurry. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with this. All kinds of stuff you can do with it. Like if I wanted, I could do a color overlay right over top of that layer there. And so I can select the layer itself. See how I have the little marching ants all the way around? And now I have the layer up here, layer number 7 selected, which is a blank layer. So if I wanted to make that blank layer, say this color right, maybe I want red sand. Maybe I want that sand to have a red hue to it. So now I would just hit Alt delete and put that layer right over it. And you may say, well, that doesn't look very realistic though. And I would agree with you, that looks ridiculous. So all you have to do is turn the opacity down and it gives it a nice red tint to the sand. And now I hit Control D and we have a pinkish sand. So I mean, there's so many things. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of water. There's so many things. I mean, whatever your mind can think of in Photoshop, once you learn Photoshop, you can do it in Photoshop. Like, it's crazy what you can do. I mean, all I have to do, again, is if I want to change the color of that sand to green, I could change it to green if I want. Just go in here, go like that. Whoops, wrong button. I want to select the layer, and then I want to just do that right there, and now I have a green sand instead of red. And I could turn it way down. Make the layer, let me see what's Brandon says. Make the layer type color, don't change the opacity. Make the layer type color. I'm not following you, dude. I'm sorry. Brandon must have more experience than I have. There's a lot of people out there with that are way better at it than I am. There's so many cool things you can do in Photoshop, and anybody that knows Photoshop knows that. So many things. Make the layer type. Oh, make the layer type color. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what you mean. Make the layer type color. Oh, dude, are you saying in here? You're saying in here. Color burn, maybe? I see. I think this is what he's talking about. I think. I don't know for sure. I mean, but again, I've seen some next to the opacity where it says normal. Right, yeah. Yeah, so that's where you can go in and like you can do all kinds of stuff in here as well. I mean, there's so many different ways to change this. But again, if you don't want that dark green, all you have to do is bring the opacity down a little bit. And it does change the overall look of it. All the way to the bottom, I did. Yep. Right. But even, yeah, then it just, yep, that's it. Yep, I got it. You're right. So again, so this right here, all of the layer types, like Brandon's talking about, there are so many things that you can do in this. You could literally spend years and years. Eric Cornelius is funny. You could spend years and I've used Photoshop for many, many, many years. So you can spend years in Photoshop and still not know everything. There's this one dude that what is his name? He did in Photoshop. I watch him. He has a whole series. The dude does advanced Photoshop training. I've taken some of his classes and I can't think of his dang name now. But he did in Photoshop. He literally went through and created not Central Park, down New York City in the why can't I think of that? What's it called? Somebody help me here. Like, it is the most detailed thing I have ever seen in my life. It was insane. So, like, some of the advanced stuff in Photoshop, I've played around in it. I see a lot of people using what are called layer masks, and I need to take a class in layer masks. That's all I can tell you. But I know you can do some really cool advanced stuff. Really cool advanced stuff. So, again, I just wanted to hop on and show you guys, don't be afraid of Photoshop. Go get it. I mean, I think Photoshop's available now for I think you can get it for $25 a month or $20 a month or something like that. I mean, it's so cheap through Adobe CC. And I mean, it's insane how inexpensive you can. And then again, you can go to YouTube and learn everything you could ever want to know about using Photoshop. And listen, if I don't know who did this photo originally. Honestly, I have no idea if it was Bill or who, but whoever originally did this photo did an excellent job. Outside of a couple little things, I would have put the reflection of the camel in the glass first, and then put the camel out here. Because once you flatten an image like this, where you don't have layers anymore, it makes it a little more difficult to do what you want to do. But you know, you can still. That would be tough to cut that camel out. I'm sure it can be done. I know it can be done. As a matter of fact, you could put that camel's reflection back there in the glass somewhere, in parts of it, so it looks a little. But I mean, it's a great job. I would have lightened up Ali's leg there a little bit, which you can still do. You can still go in and which one is it, Brandon? Is it the sponge tool? Which tool would lighten that up? Let me see. Flow. You take this way down and see. That's it. Nope, that's not it. Let's see, not that. It's not the burn tool. That would make it darker. Oh, I have the marching. Jeez. Let's see if which one it is here. Nope, that's not it. How would you do that, Brandon? Brandon, are you still on here, Brandon Wilson? So somehow you could go in and lighten up his pants leg there a little bit. Gee, many Christmas. Okay, my computer is acting ridiculous. There we go. Come back. So I would go in here somehow and make this lighter right here. Let's see. How would you do it? Not the sponge tool. What's the dodge tool? Lightens areas, yeah. So I was right. Maybe I have the exposure set too low. Yeah, that's doing it there. Again, it's not perfect. But as you can see, you can make the brush smaller. Derek Williams, how you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. So again, when you're working in Photoshop, if you run into anything at all that you go, man, I just don't remember how to do this, or see, I'm doing that. I should have added another layer and done it a little bit differently, but you know, if there's certain things that you're doing and you're like, I just can't remember how to do it. What's cool about it is there is so much information on YouTube. I mean, there is so much information, it's ridiculous. So you can get all kinds of information on YouTube. But anyway, any questions you ever have about any of this, if I can help you with anything, feel free to hit me up and let me know how I can help you. Appreciate you guys jumping on here. I just wanted to come on and play a little bit in Photoshop. I only got one picture, and that was one that I believe's already been Photoshopped, but it's a good Photoshop job. So anyway, you guys have an awesome night. See you tomorrow. I'm interviewing Linda Ann Barber on the show tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. She's the president of Weldon Long's company. I'm excited to have her on the show. You guys have a great night, and I will see you later. Peace.